morning, Sunday, May 21st, and Joe Biden has made a move that he should have made months ago. Joe Biden has told U.S. allies on Friday that he would allow Ukrainian pilots to be trained on the American-made F16 fighter jets. That is moving toward letting other countries give the planes to Ukraine. A major upgrade of the Ukrainian military and a sharp reversal of the policy that Biden has stood by for too long. If we are in this and supplying great pieces of equipment to a country that desperately needs, that is getting literally the shit kicked out of them, even though they were ahead in this particular special operation, they still were losing tremendous portions of their nation and losing an unnecessary portion of their lives because of holding back. So while they were winning, supposedly, they needed much more help than they were getting for lots of different reasons that the politicians envisioned. And many of those reasons were sound. But training the pilots and giving them the planes and giving the Ukrainian military greater ability than they already showed could have cut this war down immensely. From the beginning, when Russia launched its full-scale invasion of the Ukraine 15 months ago, Ukrainian officials have been pleading for advanced warplanes to overcome the Russian air superiority. But Biden resisted. He resisted because he was concerned that the jets would be used to hit targets deep inside Russia. And that would prompt the Kremlin to escalate the conflict. Pentagon officials said that other weapons, especially air defenses, were needed more urgently, and the high cost of F-16s could squeeze out other materials. Well, let's look at this thing realistically. Maybe just one attack in a small area of Russia would have done the trick, would have stopped Putin and his nonsense. But the fear, because the man controls some nuclear weapons, was a major factor in their decisions. Whatever else they were talking about, I think the fact that Russia has nuclear weapons scared the shit out of everybody. And rightly so, because this is a man that does not absolutely have all his marbles, All his marbles are not working, and he's not a healthy guy. He's ill, and maybe that's a reason why he's trying this desperate move now. Because before he dies, he wants to show the world that he tried to make Russia great again. I don't know what his thinking is. Obviously, there was no reason for this. He could have concentrated on making Russia small and wonderful country. They had plenty of gas they were selling around the world, so money wasn't an object for them, right? So there was no reason for him to get this dream of rebuilding the empire going. But he did. And we, the NATO group, and the U.S. included, were standing by to see what's going to happen while the Ukrainians are having their country obliterated. That doesn't make any sense to me. But then, quite honestly, I don't know what I would do in the middle of this conundrum, too, if I had the responsibility to do these things, to do what it takes to win a war. That is not easily overtaken. It takes a lot of fortitude to figure out how to win a war when your hands are somewhat tied because the enemy has an arsenal of nuclear weapons. And I believe that is a major consideration in this entire mess. But the reality is that the United States is not alone in this fight. There are many countries in Europe that belong to the NATO alliance, and several of these countries have the F-16 in their arsenals and have called for an international effort to provide the training and transfer of their jets to the Ukraine. So this is a decision. This is not Biden's decision only to make. There are many countries that are putting their citizens and their well-being at risk by calling for this training. So this is a group effort, and Biden finally has submitted to the urging of members of the group. For some reason, these countries, even though they bought these jets from the U.S., require American permission because the weapons were sold to them by the U.S. But these are not necessarily the most advanced U.S. fighters. But the F16 carries powerful radar that can spot targets from hundreds of miles away. And it carries modern missiles and other technology that American officials do not want duplicated or falling into hostile hands. And I think that is a major consideration, the way the world operates. If our weaponry gets into the hands of some irresponsible nation, and we know there are plenty of irresponsible nations out there, that could be a serious problem for the rest of the world. While the U.S. give these advanced fighting machines, advanced fighting equipment to our neighbors, our friends in NATO, we have to be sure that this group of 7 nations, which is the world's wealthiest democracies, make sure they're making the right decision. And this decision on pilot training and opening a supply train to the Ukraine with fighter jets, they're probably talking about that in Hiroshima, Japan right now. And Zelensky is there too. So maybe that's one of the reasons that Joe came to this decision, because of the G7 meeting. But I don't know. And I think he's right that we had to be very, very careful. But I also think it's more correct that we train these people and put Russia on the spot. Even though the man is unbalanced, Putin is unbalanced, we still have to have the courage to win this war and hope that there are sane people in Russia that can control Putin in some way, shape, or form. Because the threat of nuclear weapons is a terrible thing to have hanging over any head. So I'll leave you with that this morning. Maybe a way out of this Ukrainian mess. Have a great day. Bye.